Great to see you here again. My name is Luc de Custer, founder of the Custer Academy. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the qualified seller list and supplier selection. But before we continue, don't forget to click on the subscribe button, click on the bell button, and every time we have a new video, YouTube will inform you about it. Let's have a look at the suppliers and project success. When you want to have a successful project, it is very, very important to have goods and services supplied to you which comply with all the standards, all the elements you need. You need to have the products that comply with your design, that have the quality to support the quality of your design. So it's very important to have suppliers who can provide this. Now, when we look at the goods and services, when they don't perform as expected, they will have a negative effect on the project and they can lead to failure. Basically, when you create something and your components are not the way you expect them, they don't have the quality specifications, they don't comply with the standards, will have an important impact on the end product of your project. And in the worst case scenario, it can lead to failure, complete failure of the project, but also you may have a lot of acceptance problems and you may have to reduce your invoice to the customer. Now, when you look at the elements, when you look at suppliers, what we typically had in Belgium in certain, tenders we did for the government, we had to buy the cheapest offer. We had to take the cheapest offer. Although the system included quality standards and everything, having the cheapest supplier is not always the best solution. It creates a lot of problems because they go under the price, and somebody told me in many construction projects, the people supply or provide a price for the project, but they also count on additional work because there will be issues in the project. So they go below their cost, but they want to compensate later by additional spending to resolve issues in the project. It's very important that you have good suppliers and that the selection criteria will give you the possibility to have a successful project. We have a saying here in Czech Republic which says, I am not rich enough to buy cheap. It means basically when you buy cheap things, you have to replace them often. It can cause a lot of problems. And basically at the end, you may have higher costs and lower quality. In one job I started, I had to buy a computer. So first of the things I was doing was looking into computers, different computers, and I found some good computers, and I bought a cheap computer. After 1 week, the computer was broken, was in repair for 2 weeks, and so on. Basically, without a computer, I couldn't work. And my boss only wanted to have the cheapest computer, which is basically creating a lot of problems. It's not only the computer that is not working, but it's also you cannot sell or work or continue with your project. Every minute you lose is an element of cost that you cannot recuperate. I buy good equipment where I need it. I invest where it is necessary. I don't buy an Apple Watch because it is trendy. I buy a watch because I need it for certain things. But I buy a very good computer. I buy a good camera to record my classes. That's where I invest, where the goods can bring their money. Goods have to work for you, an old friend told me, and you should not be working for the things. The things should be working for you. And she became a euro millionaire. Okay, today there are a lot of euro millionaires. It's the way you think. You invest in the things that will create value for you. My Apple Watch, it wouldn't generate any value for me. So why should I buy a very expensive watch? Of course, you can say, I like a nice watch, I want a trendy one. Okay, that's good. Nothing against it. But you have to see, when you have a company or you're doing a business, it may be a little bit different. You want to have the things that help you to have, let's say, a good project. Of course, you have to look at the balance between price and quality. Too much quality, too high quality will create also more expenses, and you will not be able to recuperate that extra cost because the customer didn't ask for it. Now, when we look at supplier selection, it's very important to look at the ability to provide goods and services with the requested quality or the amounts, the time, but also you have to look at the financial status of the company. When you make a deal with the company and you don't know if the supplier is financially doing well, they can pay their invoices and so on. But if there are liabilities, financial liabilities, it may mean that you order something with the customer, with the supplier, you may have to pay for something. But once the supplier has to deliver, either the supplier may be late or may be bankrupt, so you lose your money. So you have to be sure that the supplier is able to pay for their bills to provide all the services with the quality that you need on time. Now, these are things that we have to consider. We look at the evaluation, and that's why the procurement team is so important. Once you have selected the supplier, you have to have follow-up evaluations. Things may change. So you have to evaluate what is happening. If you see things are changing, for example, the deliveries tend to take longer, communication is changing, you see that some items are different. You see what is the normal behavior like you do with people, but you also see what's the behavior of the supplier. How is that supplier dealing with all these things? So it's very important to follow up and to see what is happening. Finally, you get a preferred supplier list. Every company, large company, will work with preferred supplier list to provide specific products and services. Before you select or you add somebody to the preferred supplier list, you have to, or the supplier has to pass a selection process. During the process, the supplier will be evaluated on quality, production, processes, financial parameters, qualification of employees, and other items. And once the supplier complies and is accepted, their name is added to the list. For example, you have to look at the employees. If you want to deal with a company for helping you with project management, you have to see what are the processes in place with the supplier to train the project managers. Do they have PMP or CAPM or other certifications? When you look at people programming, what certificates do they have? What training do they have? Do they have Cisco certificates to be able to work on those Cisco routers? All these things have to be evaluated, and you have to monitor it later on. When people leave the company, you have to know, is there a replacement who has the same qualifications? So this is the video about the qualified sellers and supplier selection. Before leaving, don't forget to click on the subscribe button, click on the bell button, and every time we have a new video, YouTube will inform you about it. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in our next videos. Bye bye.